Hey everyone, this is Goober from Faction Files, back here with another Red Faction level editor tutorial. This is a request that I've gotten a couple of times. It's not going to be a long tutorial, but I felt it was important to go over it. So a number of people have asked me how to set gravity within the game. This is actually an extremely easy process. Keep in mind that this method that I'm about to show you will only work for single player. For multiplayer, it's a bit more complicated, and we'll have to get into that in a future video. But for single player, essentially all you have to do is you come over here into object mode. I just made this little map for us to test in. You're going to make a trigger auto just by double clicking on it here. A trigger auto will automatically trigger at the start of the map. So you're going to want to link this trigger to anything that you want to trigger immediately when the map starts. Obviously, we want our gravity to do that. I'm then going to come up here to event, modifiers, and the set gravity event. Going to the properties on the set gravity event, you can set a delay here, which is the amount of seconds before the event will take place after it's triggered, in this case, after the start of the map. So I could set it so that the gravity is only going to be changed like a second into the map or 60 seconds into the map or whatever. I'm just going to keep it at that for now. Gravity here, keep in mind that gravity by default in the engine is 9.8 meters a second squared down. So if I set this to 9.8, it's going to be like nothing was changed. So instead, I'm going to set it to, say, 4. This should give us less than half gravity, so we should float around a lot. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Now, to link objects and events in the editor, you're going to want to select the first object in your link chain, which in this case is going to be the trigger. I want to link the trigger to the event. So I'm going to select the trigger, going to hold Control, select the event. I'm going to press the K key on my keyboard, K for keyboard, and then it's going to link the trigger to the event. So now you can see this blue arrow here with this blue line here with an arrow on it showing that the link is going from the trigger to the event. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and save my level here, create a pack file. Then I'll launch up -faction here. I'll launch game, I will load map, gravity test 01, and now we're in our map. If I jump up, as you can see, I'm floating way higher than normal. Just to kind of show you that effect a bit more pronounced, let's just set our gravity to 1 meter a second squared. Do the exact same thing. Now I float super high. So my gravity now is 1 meter a second squared, when by default it's 9.8 meters a second squared. So that's why I'm able to float around here a lot. Likewise, you can set this to a really high value. So I can set this to 20. I'll barely be able to jump off the ground now. You can see, I'm just pushed right back down to the ground. I can barely jump up at all. Now, one more thing I wanted to show you in this tutorial is sometimes you may want to only set your gravity partway through your map in a triggered sequence, or when a player walks over a button or walks over a push plate on the floor or something like that. So to show you that, I'm just going to remove my trigger auto here, and I'll use the same set gravity event, but I'm going to set it back to 1 because I want the player to float around when they walk over the tile. So I'm just going to, I just press my home key to recenter my camera here to my player start. I'm just going to come over here to this tile here in the middle of the wall. I'm going to make a triggered door. I'm going to grid align it with Control G. Now I'm going to go to the properties on this trigger door here. Now try to ignore the fact that it says door. This is really just trigger. Just read it as trigger. I'm going to keep all of these settings the same, with the exception of the trigger reset. I'm going to set it so that it only resets once. And what this means is that once I walk into this trigger, it's going to fire once. It's going to do whatever it's supposed to do, and that's it. If I walk into this trigger a million times, or if I stand in this trigger for the next 20 years, it's not going to fire again. Keep all of the rest of this stuff the same, and I'm going to hit OK. Now the same thing as I did with the trigger auto, I'm going to select this trigger, hold Control, select the set gravity event, press my K key to link them. Again, there's an arrow between the two. Now I will save and create a pack file. Now when I launch the game now, you see my gravity is normal. But if I walk over this tile here, now my gravity is ridiculous. Now I can float through the air. You could also put a trigger on the other side of the room to set it back to 9.8 if you wanted to do that. You could have, 2 pressure plates in a room, and you walk into one, and it means that you can float around. You walk into the other one, you go back to normal. Or you get super heavy. It's up to you. Anyway, I just wanted to give you this quick little tutorial on this functionality in the Red editor because I received a couple of requests. If you have any ideas for any future videos that you'd like to see, any specific things you'd like me to focus on in future video tutorials, feel free to join our Discord and send them over my way. I'm always accepting of that kind of stuff, and I'll do what I can to create them for you. With that, thanks for watching. Take care.